This is CJ Baker, and this is an epic soundtrack to a mundane existence. So initially, I was going to basically post this as one long video, but because I felt it was a little bit too long, I decided to break it down into two parts. So, as mentioned in the previous video, Rolling Stone recently published their list of the greatest 250 albums of the 21st century. So I decided to record a live reaction video. So the previous video I posted basically was my reaction to 250 to 101. So this video now is going to focus on my reaction to the top 100. So I'll get right into it. So please enjoy. Eduardo. And we're now officially in the top 100. So we got Burial Untrue. Yeah, it's not something I've ever got into, but I do think it's important, not important. Yeah, I think it's considered fairly important and well received for that type of music. So that's fine. 99, The Weekend, House of Balloons. I think this was one of his mixtapes, like his first couple of albums he was giving away for free. And I think that's one of the albums. So yeah, from what I remember, I liked this album. When it became a bit more commercial, like I started to lose interest a little bit. But yeah, from what I recall, I liked it enough. I think was this one of the ones he was giving away for free? I think so. Yeah, because I think it did well because of the streaming numbers, because I mentioned Diamond and then I mentioned the Grammy wins. I think the Grammy wins came. Okay, I think it's just saying that he went on to become a big artist. But yeah, the humble beginnings were these mixtapes that he gave away for free, and that got a lot of attention. And I think that was there was a couple of artists like that. Like he also had Chance the Rapper, who started off by giving away mixtapes, releasing his albums for free, and that kind of created buzz for them. So that'd be I guess that kind of makes them influential to a degree. 98, Sky Ferreira, Nighttime, My Time. So yeah, I don't have much of an opinion on that. 97, Young Thug, So Much Fun. Yeah, I don't even know if I've listened to this album in its entirety. 96, J Balvin. Yes, I think this is kind of considered reggaeton, I believe, and I haven't listened to it. 95, No Name, Telephone. I think I referenced No Name prior when they talked about Saba. I think Saba was someone, yeah, I mentioned Saba here, that they collaborated together. So this is a debut, which was a mixtape. Yeah, it's excellent. I like it. No issues there. I mean, I'm surprised it made top 100 because I thought that would be the kind of thing that you'd put earlier on in the list. But yeah, I'm not saying mad at it. Victoria Monet, not familiar with it, so move on. Gorillaz, Demon Days. I don't mind Gorillaz. I'm trying to remember what's on this album. I probably listened to it. Kids with Guns. Yeah, I remember that song. Oh yeah, apparently it's the one with Feel Good Inc. So yeah, I mean, they're probably the best virtual band of all time. 92, Tyler, the Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost. In the past, I never fully got into Tyler, Creator, but I do like the album that he released in 2024. I don't have to say I have an issue with him. 91, Alicia Keys, Song in A minor. Yeah, it's a debut album. So it's the one with Falling on it, which is an excellent song. I don't think I've ever listened to the entire album. Okay, this is an excellent album. Okay, Fire Funeral. Yeah, I love this album. Yeah, Wake Up, classic album. Um, now I'm drawing a blank, but there's this one really good protest song as well. That's actually I think this might be on the Bible, the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, Wake Up's an excellent album. Not sure if Neon Bible would make it or not. If it was going to, it probably already would have. So this is probably the only Arcade Fire album. Future, DST. Um, I think that's considered important in the development of trap, but otherwise it's not something we're really into. Then we got some Madonna music. Um, that's fine. Don't have a strong opinion either way. Um, 87. Okay, I referenced Chance the Rapper, and I think this is one of his mixtapes. So from what I recall, I really liked it. And I think it was kind of, like I said, important in artists establishing a name for themselves with their mixtapes or with releasing music for free. So I think he's an important artist in that context. 86, FKA Triggs, Magdalene. Yeah, I do like FKA Triggs. I'm not sure exactly where I rank it on an all-time setting, but I'm not mad at it. 85, Parquet Courts, Light Up Gold. Yeah, I don't mind Parquet Courts. I mean, 85 does seem a bit high for it, but that's fine. Because like the other album, I think I like better. I think they released that was in 2018, Wide Awake. I think that was the name of the album. But yeah, I don't have an issue. Yeah, we got 84, Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy. I've never actually listened to the album. Cardi B, I mean, it's fine. Whatever. Don't have an issue. Okay, now Kanye West, 808s and Heartbreak. I wasn't quite sure how they would approach ranking Kanye West albums because obviously we already talked about it. His reputation is taking a hit. This is an album that if they did this list 10 years ago, maybe the album might have been like higher ranked. But yeah, sometimes I guess you gotta separate the art from the artist. 82, Lady Gaga, Born This Way. I don't mind Lady Gaga. Um, I'm trying to think if I've ever listened to an entire Lady Gaga album, but this is fine. Don't have an issue. I'm happy for the Little Monsters that Lady Gaga has at least one album on the list. But I was kind of surprised it's only one album unless another album shows up. Okay, I do love this album. Bonnie Iver, Forever Long Ago. I always get a kick out of the fact that I don't remember what year, I think it might have been 2011 or 2012. Bonnie Iver won a Best New Artist Grammy. So basically, it was like 4 or 5 years after this album, which is an excellent classic album. So I kind of get a kick out of that. Oh yeah, and Skinny Loves is on this album. So that, yeah, really good album. Number 80, Britney Spears, Blackout. Haven't listened to it and never really listened to a Britney Spears album. So we'll just keep scrolling. Okay, I mentioned Jason Isbell earlier. So yeah, I wasn't quite sure if he would have an album or not, because I initially thought if he did, it would be earlier on in the list. And I also thought that Brandy Carlisle might be ranked a little bit higher than him. But there's similar artists, like I said, in the fact that they're your singer-songwriter's favorite singer-songwriter. And yeah, there's like Cover Me Ups on this album. Yeah, so listen to Jason Isbell's version, Morgan Wallen. Yeah, Elephant. That's one of those songs that, like, like when you listen to that song, it's one of the songs that just tears you up inside. So yeah, excellent album. Okay, so we got another album of kind of like Spanish music that I'm not familiar with. Like I said before, I guess it's cool that we get representation from Latino music representation. So Adele 25. Um, so I wonder if that's the first of the Adele. So I wonder if 19 or 21 would make it or not. Um, I mean, Adele's fine. Don't have an issue with her. I know that she's obviously successful and So yeah, that's fine. Okay, 76. This is not a huge surprise because this is kind of like a critical Dolan, Vampire Weekend, Modern Vampires of the City. So yeah, I like the album. Don't have an issue with it. We'll just keep scrolling. Okay, this is love this album. If I was personally making the list, this has a shot my top 10, at least top 25. But yeah, I'm a huge White Stripe fan. White Blood Cells. This is probably my favorite White Stripe album. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's a classic album and a very important album as part of the garage rock revival of the 2000s. So I don't know if this would be the top ranked garage rock album because I haven't seen the Strokes yet, but I definitely prefer White Stripes over the Strokes. Okay, 74, One Direction 4. Yeah, not my thing, so we'll just move on. Okay, 73, Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday. Yeah, I get she's an important female rapper, but I've never listened to a Nicki Minaj album. Don't have a strong opinion. 72, so I guess the second Taylor Swift album, and you knew that it was going to be multiple. 1989. Um, I actually did listen to this album once. It was actually afterwards because I was introduced to it by Ryan Adams doing a cover album of it. Um, but Ryan Adams is he has a complicated legacy now. Um, but yeah, the songs are good. Musically, it's not necessarily my thing. But lyrically, they're not bad. So we got 71. Yeah, it's a really good album. PJRV. Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea. So yeah, I like PJRV. No issue there. I wonder if that'd be the only PJ Harvey because I think this might be your critically most well received, but she has other albums that I think I like better. Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights. Um, I think I like this album. I think I've heard it. Um, I can't really recall. Okay, I talked about this before that this album will probably make it. So Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher. So I'm suspecting this will be the top rank album of the members of Boy Genius. So it looks like Julian Baker might be the only Boy Genius member who doesn't have a solo album make the list. And this is an album that like in a lot of the albums that were released in 2020, it was kind of a unique time period because that was during the pandemic. And a number of the albums that released on an emotional level, they resonated even more because of that time period. Because not only the pandemic, I mean, this case is pandemic, but there's other albums that also resonated because of the climate with like BLM and the different like political social movements. So we got 68, Green Day, American Idiot. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it became a really successful album. It's a good album. Don't have an issue with it. I believe I had it on actually, I don't believe I'm like 99.9% certain that when I made my list of the 100 best protest albums of the 2000, it was on that list. Okay, 67, Harry Styles, Harry's House. Haven't listened to it. I've heard a couple songs by him. I don't necessarily hate them, but don't have a strong opinion. Okay, so it's the first Kendrick Lamar. So that's number 66. If I have to guess, there'll be two other Kendrick Lamar albums, which I'm not going to say by name. Um, but yeah, this is an excellent album, so I don't have an issue with it. Oh, sorry about that. Well, it's going way too fast. So we'll just scroll down. We'll decide later if I'm going to bother editing it or not. Or you might get an unedited version. Oh yeah, so there's the Kendrick Lamar. So we got 165 by Björk Vespertine. I mean, there's other Bjork albums that I probably prefer. Definitely more accessible. Like this is a bit more of an experimental album, but I don't have an issue with it. 64 by Slater Kinney, the words. Yeah, and I probably prefer the 90s output, but this is still an excellent album. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd put it on my personal top 100, but I'm not mad at it. 63, Daft Punk Discovery, that's fine. Like it's not something that I'm heavily into, but I get that Daft Punk, they're very important with what they do. But yeah, and it looks like this is the one with harder, better, faster, stronger. So I do really like that song. One More Time, I'm not really a big fan. I find that song a little bit annoying. So 62, Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. I heard the album. It's fine. That's all I gotta say. We'll just scroll down. I don't have an issue with that. Ariana Grande, Thank You Next. So yeah, Thank You Next. I mean, she's fine. Like she's a successful pop artist, not my thing. Number 60, Bruce Springsteen, The Rising. I guess that is a little bit Rolling Stone core. So you actually do expect some, I guess, kind of baby boomer type picks, even though I don't think there's too many baby boomers that are still checking out Rolling Stone. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm fine. The Rising, it's okay. He obviously has better albums, but none that were released in the 2000s. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have it ranked that high. A 59, MIA, Kayla, that's a really good album. Yeah, I think it's the one People, yeah, it's the one Paper Planes. I love that song. An excellent protest song. I believe I had this on my list of the 100 best protest albums of the 2010s. J. Dilla Donuts, yeah, that's fine. I know it's very important as far as instrumental hip hop goes. K57, Arctic Monkeys, AM. That's fine. I don't mind the Arctic Monkeys. I don't know if I'd have it at 57, but whatever. 56, not an album I listen to. So I'm just gonna move on. Okay, 55, Radiohead and Rainbows. It's a really good album. I like the album. Also, if you're trying to talk about, because music's subjective, it's hard to take an objective approach. But if you want to look at things like importance, I think the release of the album, but to pay what you want, I think kind of made it important in that sense. But musically, I really like it. Like it's not my favorite Radiohead, but it's not my least favorite either. And I don't think Radiohead has an album that I absolutely hate, even though I don't totally buy into the mystique of everything Tom York does is a work of genius. But I do really like Radiohead. Jay-Z, the Black Album, 54. That's fine. You knew that there was going to be at least one Jay-Z album. I don't mind Jay-Z. And I think there's a reason why he's considered one of the goats of rap. Paramore Riot. I like Paramore. 53 personally seems a bit high for my personal taste, but that's fine. 52, Usher Confessions. Usher's not really my thing, but he's a successful R&B artist, and maybe he is considered one of the best R&B artists. So maybe that's an appropriate spot for him. 51, Robin, Body Talk. I think this was a critically well received and commercially successful album. There's that one song I like. Is it on this album? Yeah, Dancing on My Own. Yeah, it's a great song. Um, I don't recall any other songs on the album, but I don't think I've listened to the album. So I'll kick on a little more and I'll take a swig of water. So we got Ghostface Killer, Supreme Clientele. I mean, it's a really good album. Um, so it holds up well. There's probably other solo albums from former Wu-Tang Clan members than this one, but it's a good album. Not sure I put it number 50, but that's fine. Mitski, Puberty 2. I've never really got into Mitski, and I don't think I've listened to this album. But yeah, it seems to be like the rank seems a little bit high, but I haven't listened to it, so I'm not going to say anything. Miranda Lambert, Platinum. Never listened to a Miranda Lambert album, so we'll just move on. 47, Kanye West, The College Dropout. I think this is an example of an album that if Kanye West's reputation didn't take such a hit, I could see this being like a top 10 album because it is considered a classic and it was reconsidered a classic album like even just a few years ago. But yeah, I do actually really like this album, even though I haven't really listened to a lot of Kanye West in recent years. Okay, 46, LCD Sound System, Sound of Silver. I mean, yeah, I'm fine. I don't mind LCD Sound System, but I never got hardcore into them. 45, Daddy Yankee. I guess he is considered the top name in reggaeton. That's not something that I'm really into. Never listened to the album. I haven't seen any Bad Bunny yet, so I'm suspecting there's going to be a Bad Bunny album coming up. Um, I guess that's fine. It's not my thing. 44, Eminem, no Marshall Mathers LP. That's fine. I mean, I think this is the first Eminem album. This is probably the best album he released in the 2000s, probably. I'm surprised there's only one, but because he is a GOAT level rapper. It might not be the only one, but it's the only one I could think of off the top of my head that I would put on the list this high. Um, but yeah, that's fine. Was that the one stand on it? It's been a while since I listened to it. Yeah, it stands. Stands. That's like some of the best storytelling of all time. It's a song that gives me chills every time I listen to it. So if I was doing a list of the 250 best songs of the 21st century, Stand would probably be somewhere on my top 50. Sturgill Simpson, Metro Modern Sounds and Country Music. So a bit of a mouthful, but this is an excellent album. Like this is, because I'm not into a lot of mainstream country, but this is, I wouldn't say it's totally in left field because I think fans of mainstream country can still get into it, but it does, I think, it's a little bit outside of the mainstream. But yeah, it's a really good album. But yeah, it has Promise, which is a really good cover of Run and Roam, which I believe is like a one-hit wonder, but like an 80s new wave group. But yeah, The Promise, my favorite song on the album. I think it's another album where he covered In Bloom by Nirvana, but that was an excellent cover. 42, The Kills, Hot Fuzz. 42 seems to be a little bit high, but it's an excellent album. It's a really good album. So I'm not mad at it. 41, Chapel Roan, released in 2023. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't listened to it, but I know she's getting a lot of attention, so this might be considered one of the better pop albums. I think it's a bit tricky when you're dealing with albums from 2023 and 2024 because they haven't had the time to reestablish their reputational legacy yet. So where do you rank an album from 2023 compared to like a really strong album from 2000? Like you have like 20 years of, or 23 years of legacy compared to barely a year. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. We got number 40, Casey Musgraves, Gordon Hour. As far as country artist goes, I like Casey Musgraves better than most. I'm not sure I listened to the entire album. but she has some songs I like. Is this the album with Rainbow on it? It doesn't say, but I do like that song, Rainbow. 39, Olivia Rodrigo Sour, 2021. This could be a recency bias, getting tongue-tied. Because like I already mentioned about sometimes these newer albums haven't been able to establish their legacy yet. But she is one of the top artists at this moment. So seeing that she has an album on the list, not surprising. 38, Channel Orange, Frank Ocean, really good album. Don't we have a problem with it? Beyonce Renaissance, excellent album. Just the first part of the trilogy that she was basically reclaiming the black roots of house music. It was just house, I guess more disco. But basically, she's reclaiming black dance sounds that have kind of been whitewashed. So, and it kind of not even just whitewashed, it's kind of there's also the queer aspect of dance music that sometimes gets overlooked. So she embraces that on the album as well. So I'm not sure I personally rank it as my top 37, but I understand why it's a well-regarded album. 36, Taylor Swift, Red. Haven't listened to it. Sorry, Swifties. But otherwise, we'll just move on. 35, Charlie XCX, Brat. I mean, I already mentioned about the issues of how to rank newer albums, but obviously this is considered the top album of 2024. So you knew it was going to be on the list somewhere. I'm assuming this is the top rank album from 2024. Okay, Bad Bunny, you knew he was going to have at least one album. Haven't listened to it. We'll just move on. What? Come on. I wonder if Good Kid, Mad City would be somewhere like on the top five. I know it's not number one because I said that was spoiled. But yeah, The Pimp a Butterfly at only 33. Now that's shocking. Like that would be my like going into this, my thinking would be that'd be like the number one album. So yeah, it's the first time I was really shocked at this list. Um, so yeah, but I'm suspecting Good Kid, Mad City would probably be top five, maybe even number two. But personally, I do rank The Pimp a Butterfly above Good Kid, Mad City. Um, but yeah, we'll move on. I don't want to get too worked up by a list. Mad Villain, Mad Villainy. It's a really good album. I'm not sure I'd put a project of MF Doom ahead of To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, this is more of like an underground cult classic, so I don't think it has the overall impact of To Pimp a Butterfly. The fact that MF Doom sadly passed away, maybe, I mean, I don't want to get cynical like that, but maybe that kind of elevated the status of the album. But yeah, it's an excellent, out of left field kind of cult rap album. But yeah, it's to put it above The Pimp a Butterfly. Okay, 31, Billy Iris, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I did listen to this album. Initially, I wasn't going to because I'm not a pop person, but when she was getting like buzz, I decided to give it a listen. And as far as pop music goes, I like this better than most. There's some interesting things going on. And there is a certain like teenage angst to it that I can appreciate. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, 30, Wilco, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. So this is kind of like the critics' fave. And I really like this album. It's an excellent album. Might even have on my top 100. But I think I'm going to spend a lot of time with the next 30 albums saying, how did it rank above To Pimp a Butterfly? But it is a fairly important alt country album. And it looks like this might be the top ranked alt country album. So yeah, maybe you can make an argument for it. 29, SZA, Control. I mean, it was a top ranked album. I think it did well both commercially and critically, so I'm not necessarily mad at it. Okay, Lil Wayne, Dakota 3. So I think I mentioned Dakota before, but this is the third Dakota. But yeah, I don't really know how to rank Lil Wayne albums, so I can't say too much other than the fact that The Pimp a Butterfly better than that. I don't know. 27, yeah, yeah, yes, Fever to Tell, really good album. Not sure it's better than The Pimp a Butterfly. 26, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, excellent album. I was gonna say I don't know if it's better than Pimp a Butterfly, but I don't want to disrespect Amy Winehouse. I think she is a very important artist and part of the 27 club. But I think even if you're still alive, this would still be an excellent album. And it was part of like a revival of kind of throwback music, but it was throwback with like a modern edge. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for Amy Winehouse. No, I'm not at that pick. 25, Lord, Melodrama. Yeah, I never super got into Lord, so for me, this seems to be overrated, but I don't think I've ever listened to the whole album, so maybe that's a bit of an uninformed decision. David Bowie, Black Star, that's fine. It's a good album. I think it's a little bit overrated because of his legacy, but it's a really good album. I don't have a problem with being on the list. I'm not sure I'd rank it above The Pimp a Butterfly, but that's fine. 23, Drake, Take Care. Definitely not better than The Pimp a Butterfly. Um, 22, Rosalia. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna have to scroll because once again, I'm not well informed with Hispanic music, but maybe it's considered a groundbreaking Hispanic album, so I don't want to get too uptight about it. Rihanna Auntie, I mean that's fine. I still don't know if I put it above The Pimp a Butterfly. 20, Lady Gaga, The Fame Monster. I mean, as far as pop artist goes, I probably like Lady Gaga better than most, and I can see where she's influential, but not better than The Pimp a Butterfly. 19, Bob Dylan, Love and Fast. I mean, it's a good album, especially a good album for a 2001 Bob Dylan album, but I think it's probably overrated, like because of Dylan's legacy. It's kind of put on a higher pedestal than what it should be put on. But this is kind of Rolling Stone core. But yeah, not better to Pimp a Butterfly. 18, Missy Elliott, Under Construction. Not sure if I listened to the album. I have respect for Missy Elliott, but never have listened to a lot of her music. Um, 17, Adele, 21. I mentioned before I thought maybe 19 or 21 would make it, but I think 21 is considered a most successful album, so 19 probably won't be on it. So yeah, I'm not sure I put it at 17. It's definitely not better than The Pimp a Butterfly. 16, Beyonce, Beyonce. I mean, you knew there was going to be a lot of Beyonce on the list. That's fine. I don't have a huge problem. 15, Lana Del Rey. Um, that's fine. I'm not sure I would put it at 15. I definitely wouldn't put it ahead of To Pimp a Butterfly. 14, White Stripes Elephant. I do really like this album. It's an excellent album. I prefer White Blood Cells, so I'd probably put that above it. But I'm glad that White Stripes are represented. Um, I mean, I wouldn't put her right ahead of To Pimp a Butterfly. Sorry, Jack White, I love you. But no, but yeah, it's a good, really good album. Important in the garage rock revival. 13, Fiona Apple. Really long name. I'm not saying all of that. I do really like Fiona Apple. It looks like it's the second album on the list. I wonder if To Fetch Boat Cutters would be on it. I do think this is probably overranked a bit. Like I'd probably have it somewhere on the list, but yeah, I'm not sure about number 13. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, not above To Pimp a Butterfly. Number 12, Z-A-Z, A Blueprint. Um, I don't mind Jay-Z. I haven't really done a deep dive with him, but I understand why he's considered a GOAT. I mean, maybe not better than To Pimp a Butterfly, D'Angelo Voodoo. That's fine. I think he's considered important in neo soul. I mean, I don't know if I listened to this album. I think the only album I listened to in its entirety was The Black Messiah, and that was more because I have a website dedicated to protest music. But I don't have an issue with him. I'm not sure about number 11. And like I said, I'm still a little bit taken back by To Pimp a Butterfly. Um, but yeah, we'll move on. Number 10, The Strokes. Is this it? I thought it was going to be on the list somewhere. I already mentioned I prefer the White Stripes. So if I was going to pick the best garage rock revival album, I would personally choose White Blood Cells. And I think it's definitely too high at number 10. But I anticipated that probably was going to be somewhere on the list. And I was even thinking maybe top 100 because they all consider after the White Stripes. They're probably the number two garage rock revival band. And some might even argue number one, even though I would strongly disagree with that. Number 9, Bad Bunny. Yeah, it's not my thing. It's a 2022 album. So there's that whole thing of it's still fairly new. So if you had to redo this list 10 years from now, where would it rank? I definitely, I mean, I can't say because I never listened to it, but it's better than To Pimp a Butterfly. I don't know. Number 8, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'm actually surprised on how much Kanye West has showed up on this list. But at the time that this album came out, it was considered like an instant classic. Um, and I don't mind the album. I liked the album. I thought it was a really good album. I thought it was a little bit overrated, but it was almost overrated by default. Um, but yeah, it's fine. Sometimes you gotta separate the art from the artist. Number 7, SZA SOS. So yeah, this is the album released at the end of 2022. So I made a lot of critics 2023 list. So it's a critically well received album. It's a recent album, so it's one of those where it's going to rank 10 years from now, but it hasn't had the time to establish a legacy like some of the other albums. So once again, it's like, is this better than The Pimp a Butterfly, which has established a considerable legacy? Okay, yes. Can Look 'Em All, Good Kid, Mad City, number. I mean, first off, I already said The Pimp a Butterfly would have been my number one album. But I figured if Pimp Butterfly only showed up in the 30s, I figured this might be like top five, maybe like number one. I already know what number one is, but I thought maybe this would be like number two or number three. I guess number six is fine. Um, I actually figured I Can't Look 'Em All might have like two albums in the top 10. Um, it is a classic album, so yeah, that's fine. Number 5, Taylor Swift Folklore. It's a really good album. It's probably the first Taylor Swift album that I listened to in its entirety. It might have been 1989 because I already mentioned the story there that I kind of got introduced to 1989 because of Ryan Adams, not Brian Adams, the Canadian guy, Ryan Adams, the old country guy who has gotten himself in some trouble lately from like, oh, we won't get into those details of why. Um, but yeah, I actually do really like Folklore. Um, I do like the appearance of the National. I do like the song with Bon Iver. Like Exile is a beautiful song. But yeah, number 5, it's definitely overrated. It's definitely not better than To Pimp a Butterfly. Number 4, okay, excellent album. like in the back of my mind was To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the most important rap albums of all time, but Stay Corner, I mean, can't argue too much with that. It's actually the first Outkast album, I think. Okay, some of the albums were in the 90s, but you also have like Love Below Speaker Box. I would think that would be somewhere in the 250s. I doubt it's going to be top three, but I haven't scrolled down yet. So yeah, only one Outkast surprises me a bit, but Stay Corner, excellent album. B.O.B. Bombs Over Baghdad, great song. Miss Jackson, great song. So yeah, I do love Outkast, no issues there. Number three, Frank Ocean Blonde. I actually probably prefer Channel Orange, but it's one of those things where I like Frank Ocean. I don't want to get too critical because I think he is well received and is considered fairly important. Even though like I said, I have a tough time accepting the fact that this is better than To Pimp a Butterfly, but maybe I should stop rambling about that. Number two, Radiohead Kid A. This does not surprise me. You knew that Radiohead, I mean, you and Rainbows was probably going to be on the list. It was, but Kid A was going to be the top ranked album. I believe after OK Computer, this is the generally like ranked as like the second highest Radiohead album, even though it's not personally one of my favorites. Like they probably have, like I'll probably be OK Computer or the bands. I'm not sure where I put Kid A because I do. I think it's an excellent album, but there's other Radiohead albums I prefer more. But I see why it's considered a well-regarded album. So I don't necessarily have a problem with it being number two. Maybe a little bit, because actually, no, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem number two. I think it's more the number one I would have an issue with because my number one would be The Pimple Butterfly. But yeah, I probably should stop making a big deal about that. Um, Number one, okay, Beyonce Lemonade. Um, I do really like Lemonade. Consider the like I understand the cultural importance of it. Like I believe it was a surprise drop, and then I think it was kind of the release as a digital album. And I think it was an interesting album because of the intersection of personal and political. So there was the personal politics. So a lot of it had to deal with the issues of Jay-Z cheating on her. But there was also some strong political statements as well. Like, for example, Formation. And in connection with that, it actually did make my list of the 100 best protest albums of 2010s. So I do really like Lemonade. And I'm not sure where I would rank it as far as my personal taste, but it doesn't surprise me that it'd be somewhere on the top five. But yeah, like I said, I'm shocked that To Pimp a Butterfly, what was it, 33? I remember exactly where it was. Let's scroll down. Because there's always going to be some, like I try not to get too worked up of positionings on the list. And there's some that, like to me, if it wasn't Rolling Stone, the Bob Dylan placement would seem high. Like if this was like Pitchfork, I might be like, okay, I'm not sure about that. But you do have to consider, I guess you can almost say, the editorial bias of the website or publication. Um, but yeah, where was Pimp a Butterfly? Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly at 33. So that's probably my only really big shocker. So yeah, that's the list. What do you think of the list? Any albums that you feel should have made the list but didn't? What are your personal favorite albums of the 21st century so far? Feel free to name those in the comments as well. So if you want me to keep making content, like and subscribe. And also feel free to comment because that interaction helps as well. And it lets me know that I'm not just screaming into the void. So if you also want to check out my website, you can, ongoing history of protestsongs.com. So thanks for watching and please stay safe.